Gary, directed by Chris Storer, the creator of The Bear, and written by Richie and Mikey, by John Bernthal and Ebon Moss-Bachrach. So this was an absolute treat. I absolutely love this episode, this one-off side mission, as Richie would call it. I'm gonna keep this short, but this episode was just so rich, and to me, it completely captures what The Bear is. There's no cooking in this show whatsoever, and I feel like that's why it captures what The Bear is, because The Bear isn't really about cooking, you know? The Bear is about these characters. It's about the humor, the heartbreak, the realism of just humanity, of mental illness, of just people who have issues, people who are broken, mixed with the humor, you know? And I just thought this episode perfectly captured that. I mean, the plot is simple. Like Richie and Mikey, they gotta go to Indiana, mini road trip, and they gotta drop something off. The dialogue, it's almost like a Tarantino film in the sense where it's just like two people in a car just yapping about random stuff, and it has nothing to do with the plot, but it just informs so much about these characters, and it's entertaining as hell. And I feel like the reason why it's so real is because it captures just this type of person, these types of men, where they're so immature, they're working class, they're low class, they're addicts, they're just loud, you know? And that makes it entertaining, that makes it hilarious, and I could relate because I've worked with so many people like that in the past, you know? So seeing Richie and Mikey just riff off each other, I'm just like, man, I know these guys, you know? It's just so funny. But the realism, the heartbreak, the seriousness is still there, and seeing Mikey in quiet moments absolutely broken. And I love that Mikey, he's always been so vague. He's like a haunting presence looming over the entire show of The Bear, and we don't really know him. Like, we do know some things about him, but we don't get that much footage of him, you know? And in this episode, we get just a lot more of Mikey, a lot more of Richie, the old Richie, the louder, way more immature Richie. But also you see like the glimmers of the Richie we know now, you know, the Richie that's more mature, who's loving, who's genuinely a good guy. He's just made a lot of mistakes and is kind of dumb, you know? All that is just presented here perfectly to me. And I just, like I said, really loved it. The episode just progresses and progresses and progresses. There's like it leads to something. It's not just an episode of them driving around, you know, like there is development in these characters, their relationship. This takes place in the timeline when I'm blanking on her name, when Richie's daughter is about to be born, when his wife, when his girlfriend is pregnant, around the time of the Fishes episode. So that's like the looming thing, like, oh, she's expecting, she's gonna have the baby any day now, and then they're off doing this thing, and then they're making bad choices. Mikey being the best and worst of himself, you know, like a true Berzotto, you know, the crazy emotions, the sensitivity. And I'm not gonna get into spoilers, but I do want to talk about the ending, because the ending is very interesting. It's very curious. So I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna say what happens, but the ending was a surprise. I thought for a second, oh my god, this must be right after the events of season 4. But then I realized the aspect ratio changes to like a cinematic widescreen. And The Bear, I don't think has ever done that. I think it's always TV format. Even the flashbacks, it's always the full screen format. But the ending is like that. So a part of me makes me think that what if that is a metaphor? It's surreal, you know, it's a representation of what that character is feeling, and this isn't reality. I don't know. Like I said, the aspect ratio change made me really doubt it, and I went back to a couple of the old Bear episodes when they're a little bit more cinematic, when they're a flashback, and they've never done that, I don't think. So let me know in the comments if you can recall when they've done that cinematic aspect ratio change. But I can't remember them ever doing that. So I wonder what that means. I wonder if that's actually a tease for season 5, or if, like I said, it's just in his mind a representation of emotions, that type of thing. But all in all, love this episode. Such a surprise, like I said, and it was devastating and hilarious all at the same time, which is The Bear, and I absolutely love it. So let me know your thoughts on Gary, and thanks for watching.